They say silence is golden. For Alex, a sound engineer, silence was his canvas. He spent his days chasing the purest form of quiet, isolating every hum, every buzz, every whisper of the world. But in the dead of night, in his new, surprisingly cheap apartment, silence began to whisper back. It started subtly. While reviewing white noise recordings for a relaxation app, he noticed anomalies. Faint, almost imperceptible modulations buried deep within the static. At first, he dismissed them as radio interference or equipment glitches. But the more he listened, the more they sounded human, distorted, fragmented, like a radio station tuned between worlds. One night, driven by a mix of professional curiosity and a growing unease, Alex decided to isolate these sounds. He ran the recordings through layers of filters, noise gates, and equalizers. It was like sonic archaeology, digging through layers of static. The first clear fragment he managed to pull out sent a chill down his spine. A single word, stretched and warped, but unmistakable, outside. He replayed it over and over. It was a woman's voice, laced with a panic that felt ancient and raw. He tried to rationalize it. A stray signal from a nearby baby monitor, perhaps? But the apartment building was old, mostly occupied by retirees. Over the next week, it became an obsession. Alex spent every spare moment hunting for more fragments. He started making his own recordings, leaving high-sensitivity microphones running in his apartment overnight. The harvest was terrifying. He captured more whispers, more pleas. He painstakingly cataloged each one, labeling them by date and time. It was a macabre puzzle. He had dozens of snippets. Don't open. The wall. It watches, scratches. They were all different voices, men, women, even what sounded like a child. They all shared the same undercurrent of sheer terror. The feeling in the apartment began to change. What once felt like a bargain now felt like a trap. The silence he used to crave was now pregnant with unseen listeners. He'd feel cold spots drift through the living room. Sometimes, out of the corner of his eye, he'd see a flicker of movement, a shadow that didn't belong. He started sleeping with the lights on, the hum of the electricity a comforting barrier against the oppressive quiet. His work suffered. He couldn't focus on mixing clean audio when his own home was filled with sonic ghosts. The breakthrough came when he started using spectrogram software, which visualizes sound. He fed his collection of ghostly fragments into the program. The distorted waveforms, when analyzed, revealed hidden patterns. He realized that some of the strange, rhythmic clicks he'd been filtering out weren't random noise. They were Morse code, slow, deliberate, and weak, but there. He transcribed the dots and dashes, his heart pounding with each letter. The first message spelled out a name, Eliza, then another, Henry, and a third, Sarah. A quick search of old city records and newspaper archives online blew the case wide open. Eliza May, a student, had lived in his exact apartment, for B, 10 years ago. She was reported missing by her family. Police found no signs of foul play. She had simply vanished. Henry Gable, a freelance journalist, lived there 5 years before Eliza. Same story, packed a bag for a weekend trip and never returned. And Sarah, a little girl who lived there with her family in the 80s, disappeared from her own bedroom one night while her parents slept in the next room. The case went cold, a local tragedy that faded into myth. They all disappeared from this very apartment. Alex now understood. The voices weren't just random spirits. They were warnings. They were the previous tenants, trapped in some echo of time, screaming their last moments into the static. He went back to his audio files, listening with new ears. He began piecing the fragments together, not just isolating words, but sequencing them based on the voice. Eliza's voice was the clearest. It scratches the wall. Don't open the closet. It watches from outside the window. Henry's voice was deeper, more frantic. It's not a shadow. It's not real, but it takes you. Sarah's was the most chilling, a child's sing-song whisper. The man in the wall wants to play. Hide and seek. The wall. Eliza mentioned scratches. Sarah mentioned a man in the wall. Alex turned to the large closet in his bedroom. The back wall was covered in thick, textured wallpaper, probably from the 70s. He had always thought it was an odd design choice. His hands trembling, he ran his fingers over the surface. Underneath the floral pattern, he could feel it. Long, deep gouges in the plaster beneath. Scratches. He grabbed a utility knife and sliced into the wallpaper. It peeled away with a dry, dusty sigh, revealing a horrifying sight. The plaster was covered in names, dates, and desperate messages, all clawed into the wall. "Help me. It's in the room. Don't sleep." And at the bottom, near the floor, a child's crude drawing of a tall, thin figure with no face. Suddenly, a new sound came through his headphones, which were still connected to the live microphone in the room. It was different from the others. Not a distorted echo, but a clean, crisp sound. A slow, deliberate scratching. It wasn't coming from the headphones. It was coming from inside the closet, from behind the wall he had just exposed. Alex froze, every muscle in his body screaming to run. The scratching stopped. A new voice filled his ears, clear as a bell, speaking directly from the microphone. It was a calm, friendly voice, one he hadn't heard before. It said, "We have a new neighbor." Alex ripped the headphones off and stumbled backward, his eyes locked on the dark interior of the closet. The silence that followed was heavier and more terrifying than any noise he had ever recorded. He didn't know what the entity in the wall was, but he knew one thing for sure. The previous tenants hadn't died. They had been collected, and his name was about to be added to the list. He scrambled for the door, not even bothering to grab his keys or wallet. He ran out of the apartment, down the stairs, and into the street, not stopping until the city lights drowned out the memory of that suffocating quiet. Alex never went back. He left all his expensive equipment, his clothes, everything. As far as the landlord is concerned, he's just another tenant who vanished without a trace. But somewhere, in the static of apartment 4B, a new, terrified voice might just be starting to whisper its first warning. Like, share, and subscribe for more unsettling horror stories.